Well, I wake up in the morning, put my boots on like everybody does, grab my hat as I hit the door. But there's something different, there's something more. I've got bullets in my pocket and a rifle in my hand. As I roll outside the wire, I know it might be my last stand. All the thoughts inside my head are mine and mine alone. The mission that's before me and the ones I leave at home. Though I walk through the valley of the shadow, may death fear me. And when I run into the fire, Lord, may your hand lead and guide me. 'Cause I've got bullets in my pocket and a rifle in my hand. As I roll outside the wire, I know it might be my last stand. All the thoughts inside my head are mine and mine alone. The mission that's before me and the ones I leave at home. If I fall, carry me home, shed a tear, but no, I'm not alone. For those who fought and fell before me will be waiting to welcome me home. 'Cause I've got bullets in my pocket and a rifle in my hand. As I roll outside the wire, I know it might be my last stand. All the thoughts inside my head are mine and mine alone. The mission that's before me and the ones I leave at home. The ones I leave at home.
Happy Veterans Day, folks. Welcome to another episode of the TPO Doc Talk. Tonight, we were supposed to have a recap for you of our Veterans Day event. That didn't go off because we got a historic snowstorm coming in. We got Jimmy Straws here with us, though, and we're gonna go over a couple things on Veterans Day. We're gonna talk some fishing. You never know where we're gonna end up on this thing. Let's go ahead and get the old fire started on this bad boy on Veterans Day 2025. Happy Veterans Day, Mr. Straws. How are you, sir?
Pretty good. Same to you. Happy Veterans Day.
Yeah. You know, man, it's just kind of irony, right? We were supposed to have a recap show here talking about the awesome, cool weekend we had. I was just supposed to be getting back in today. You know, supposed to have Pueblo fish smell still all over me, you know, from the deal. And then what does Colorado do but say, hold my beer, and we're going to bring you an epic like snowstorm for the entire like 3, 4, 5 days there that you haven't seen in 30 freaking years. Like 1994 was the last time we've had that kind of snow, that kind of storm this early in the year, like 1994. I'm like, what in the karma hell is going on here, man? What did I do wrong?
Yeah, please don't ever be a tournament director.
Right?
You know, every event, like I got room to talk though, right? Like, yeah, I shouldn't say anything. We had Snowfest at Chatfield, but you know what? You know what? You look out this window that's behind me, you wouldn't even know that there
Yeah.
was 6 or 8 inches of snow. That it just snowed what Saturday night into early
Saturday.
Sunday morning, and it's already Monday. It's gone.
Yep. That's
Well,
Colorado, right?
yeah,
Well, everything on the extended forecast says this next weekend is supposed to be just normal Colorado November, beautiful, 50s
nice.
and 60s, type thing, getting down into the 20s and 30s at night, which is good. I'm hoping, I'm crossing my fingers, dog, that bite's still going to be there because I know like a week before the snowstorm came in like the weekend before that happened, the shad were dying off already. So it's 2 weeks of dead shad. Hopefully we still got a few, chubby ones running around that still looking to chew. What do you think timing wise? We should still be okay, you think?
Yeah, I think so. I think obviously the transition has happened already. Water temperatures are going to be the key, and then using electronics when you first get down there to find those schools of fish. I would concentrate on main lake to secondary points. That would be my guess, because those shad might have pushed back early, end of October, middle of October, and now the water's cooling off. Those cool nights get the surface of that water cold, and then that surface water drops, and it turns the signal on like, hey, we got cold water, and everybody goes back out to the deep. So channel swings, secondary points, main lake points, steep banks. I'd stay around that. I know it's your favorite style is drop shot, and you love doing it. So I think it's going to play. Unless you can drag, like Ned rig or a speed crawl or something down those edges, something a little different because they've been eating on shad. So give them something a little different. You can't constantly eat a cheeseburger all the time. You
Right?
put chicken in front of me, and I'll take the chicken over the cheeseburger.
I'm hoping a juicy jig. I'm gonna bust out that all
Yeah,
terrain bag and throw a good trailer on there, just something that's really craw looking. Because I've I've
yeah,
I've heard quite a bit now. I don't have a ton of winter fishing experience. I'm hoping to improve upon that as we go on here through this season. I've got permission and got the kitchen pass from the wife that if I need to head down to Pueblo for a couple days, I can take the trailer with me and just camp down there at the campground and spend a day or two down there and start to explore a little bit. I want to get that clam ice suit first though, just to make sure that I'm extra warm and extra floaty, just in case something happens out there, right? But
yeah, yeah. We got to be prepared. That falling 46-degree water, 42-degree water is no joke. You've probably got a
yeah.
minute or two to get to the shore in that kind of cold water. You need to get out.
Yep. Yeah, if I had a dry suit, which that would be the preferred way, but don't have one of those, and quite frankly, don't want to drop $1,000 for something like that. So I think a good solid ice suit from Clam, one of those that the ice fishing guys use, that it's got flotation built into it, suit 100% waterproof. That way, between that and a PFD, I'll get my butt back there. But so Collins wants to know. He's got a good question here. My answer is yes. If you slow roll it. Wants to know, is
Yeah,
it a rig time? Yes or no? Yes or yes?
I think so. 100%. Yeah, especially. I know what do they call themselves? The Winter Warriors or whatever, the crew that goes down in the winter down there.
The Roughnecks.
The Rough Riders, Winter Rough Riders, the Winter
That's
Rough
right.
Rider, where they launch at DOW, I do believe. If they can get an A rig around some of those bluff walls right about now, if those fish have pulled out there, yeah, I think it's definitely A rig time for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we'll have a chance to check it out there. I'm really hoping that a lot of the folks that we had scheduled with us are able to get back with me. I put out an email today to make sure of. I want to leave this open as well. If you're a vet and you are watching this, if you're active military, I'm going to extend this open here. We've got space for Friday and Saturday night for camping. So if you can make it, let us know. Or if you just want to come down and fish on Saturday or Sunday, we're going to be fishing all day Saturday, all day Sunday. Our camping situation is, like I said, is only Friday and Saturday. We don't have a camper for Sunday night. We had to make a little deal there with the guy that's getting us the camper. And so we opted for Friday, Saturday as opposed to Saturday, Sunday, because Monday is going to be a lot of people going to be probably wanting to get back to work anyway. But
Yeah. So
yeah,
you'll probably have to get out of your campsite in the morning, be packed, go down to the lake in the morning, fish all day, and then after fishing, you can head home. So you won't be have that chance to go back to that campsite, right?
I'm getting the campsites all the way to Monday myself.
Oh,
So
okay. I
yeah,
got
I've got
you.
the
Nice.
campsites that we're gonna carry them, roll them straight all the way through, just to make sure. But as far as the camper goes, the camper's gonna leave. I'll still have my bunkhouse that I'll be crashing in. But
Okay.
the
Nice.
camper that's holding like 5 people, that won't be there. Yeah, A rig's mandatory with the winter Rough Riders, says Mr. Collins. There,
Yeah.
absolutely, couldn't agree more.
Let me ask him this: Has he caught multiple fish on his A rig at Pueblo yet? Because I've done it a small amount of times. I thought I would be able to do it more often, especially when you get around those schools of the spots. But I'm just wondering if he's had the experience of. I've never had three. I've had two out of the three hooks filled, but
we'll
I've
see
never
what
gotten three.
we'll see what he says. I've never had a multiple at the same time hook up. I've had chasers that if I would have gotten smart, I would have slowed it down and let them go after it. But yeah, had chasers. And Matt says only walleyes. He's had walleyes do it.
Do
Nice.
multiples on walleyes.
Yeah, looks like it
Cool.
for sure. Well, good stuff. Man, it is Veterans Day here, and for a Veterans Day episode, brother, I had really contemplated on talking about certain things. Um, oh, he did say he actually had 2 spots on before, so spotted bass
Okay.
he's been able to pick up that way, and that's good to
Nice.
hear. It that's a good sign when a fishery has that kind of competition in its fish hunting for that. If you don't know what
Yeah.
an A rig is, folks, A rig is basically it's got in most cases in Colorado, we're only allowed three hooks on it. So basically, it's a lure that opens up like an umbrella, and it's got 3 different swim baits on the back of the thing. Looks like minnows floating through. So it's a big old deal that you chuck out there, and it is possible to get multiple hits on the same lure. I am smelling campfire. I'm hoping it's coming from outside or someone's burning
Oh,
there.
God.
Because if not, I've got a fire in my house here.
Uh,
Sorry, we're live and I'm out here wondering, but it's a strong smell here. I would like
Maybe
to get
Julie's
up and look.
barbecuing. Is she barbecuing down there? She got the smoker fired up or what?
Julie is in West Palm Beach right now, so she's down in Florida. So I'm batching it, man. Just me and the kid and the cat.
Nice. You need to go look at something, and I'll
I
kind of babble.
Yeah, talk a little bit about fishing if you don't mind here. Isn't this fun live podcasting? But yeah, I definitely have a burning paper smell going on here, and I don't know if I've got my window open, so I don't know if it's coming in from out there. But I should probably go take a look downstairs real quick. So yeah, Jim,
Yeah.
let's talk Pueblo ice fishing, man, or just fishing this time of year.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you folks one thing that you don't want me to talk ice fishing because I've never really been ice fishing personally. I went once when I lived back in New York, and I'll say straight up, the fact that that ice cracks and pops between your legs when you're out there, yeah, not the best feeling. Everybody always says to me, "Hey, but that's part of ice fishing. That the ice is getting thicker when it's cracking and popping like that." I don't know, guys. Just something about ice popping underneath my feet just doesn't do it for me. Ice fishing. So if someone's going sometime and there's enough ice, I'll tag along. Maybe you guys can teach me a few things. But yeah, ice fishing, not me.
I'm with you,
You all
man. I'm
right?
the same way. Yes, it is
Sounds
coming
good.
from outside. I must have a neighbor or something that's doing a little fire out there. So yeah, I'm so hypersensitive when it comes to things like that, dude. It's like and especially I'm a former smoker, right? Eight years ago, I quit smoking, And
Right.
dude, my nose came alive. It's like I got bit by a spider and now I got spidey sense, right? It's like my nose is ultra. I can pick a cigarette out at like 400 yards and I can tell
Yeah.
you, is that a light or is that a red or is that a non-filter? Man, I see that stuff when I get out like at a parking lot at a grocery store. I can
Yeah.
tell if homie's sitting in his car blazing up, the devil's lettuce or a cigarette or something. I'm like,
Yep.
mm-hmm. Yeah,
Yep.
he's 3 rows over there. So yeah, when I got that smell of like that's paper burning. That's what that is. That's not even wood yet. So yeah, no, it's coming from outside. Anyway, Mr. Justin Brickland saying Happy Veterans Day. Awesome stuff. Thank you, sir, for jumping on here.
Same to him. Same to
But
him.
I
21
wanted
years or
to.
something he's got.
That's
I
right.
think he's got
He's
21 years, I think. I saw.
closing in on retirement. I think he's almost there for sure. So he'll be a veteran soon enough. Soon enough. Where I was going when I first started with this was it's Veterans Day. There's so much that you could, talk about, especially in the realm of nonprofit work when it comes to veterans, this and this. And I've been watching several of these podcasts from Heroes Media Group, which are fantastic podcasts, by the way. If you're interested in any type of the content that is around veteran support services of any kind or just veteran entertainment, check out Heroes Media Group. The podcasts there are phenomenal. They're fantastic. They got a lot of good content in there. And what do we got here? Mike from Chatfield. How are you, Mike? How's it going, buddy? Nice. Appreciate you
What's up, buddy?
tuning in with us here. We appreciate that. And Brickland says 21 and he retires this March. This is awesome stuff.
Oh, wow.
Good
That's
stuff.
going to be awesome.
I'll tell you, one of the things I was noticing earlier is there were some pretty heavy topics, right, that were being brought up on Veterans Day because there's a lot to fix in our country when it comes to the support services, the Veterans Administration, the VA. There's a lot that needs fixing. We're not where we need to be. If you need proof to that somewhere, I would suggest simply look at the veteran suicide rates. And that should absolutely make you nearly want to break down in tears. What that is a sign of, in my personal opinion, is the simple fact that there's just not enough support, right? Not enough support. And we need to improve upon that. But I wanted to make sure of, and I want to say this straight, neither Jim nor I are United States veterans. So for us to talk on some of these topics would be somewhat out of pocket. And I just don't feel right about that. There are certain areas that we absolutely can, speak up on different affairs and how we feel personally as United States citizens, as benefactors of the amazing service that these men and women and their families have given to us, so that we can sit here right now doing what we're doing.
Yeah.
And Jim, you've been a supporter of the TPO from the moment I conceived it and put it out there. So yeah, I mean, we do have, these areas there, but I didn't want to get too deep into the weeds on some of those, but there was a couple things I wanted to make sure that on Veterans Day here, as we're talking fishing tonight, as we're going down this stuff, I'm going to throw out a challenge there as well at the end of this thing. But the first and foremost thing that I want citizens, active military, first responders, everyone to keep in mind inside their heads throughout, and especially this day, and don't let it just be a day, let it carry forward through the entire year, is number one, be thankful. Be thankful for where we are at. I don't care which way you voted last week. And if you're getting caught up in the social media, trash cans that are running around out there, then you need to remember how to filter information that comes at you. Get rid of that. Get rid of it. If it's causing you stress, get rid of it, because it's not worth it. But most of all, be thankful. Be thankful for these men and women that have made the choice to stand up and protect ideals. Because it wasn't too long ago, Jim. It's easy for us to sit here now. We're not even the Vietnam era. We were kids when Vietnam was going on, right?
Yeah. I mean, the closest we'd be would be Desert Storm,
Yeah. Storm.
which I don't think
Shield
we lost
Storm.
a soldier in Desert Storm.
Right. That's we are of the GWAT era, the Global War on Terror era, 1983, maybe a little bit before 1980. That area there, early, all the way through 2021, 2022, current day. But the point is, it wasn't too long ago that there were a group of volunteer, men and women that stood up and said, we're going to protect this country. We're going to go fight them on their soil so that they don't get over here to fight us on our soil. And we were engaged in world wars. Folks, I mean, one small little country of Germany over there nearly had Europe on its knees. You know what I mean? It's like, they were doing pretty damn well. They did it in World War One. They lost there, but they decided, you know what? We got a little different SWAT, but this is the core of where the veteran, lie. And you can go even further back in veterans' life. Don't try to sit there and play, word salad with the difference between a GWAT vet and a Vietnam vet, and a Korean vet, and a World War II vet. These are the same men and women. They're made from the same mold that's inside. And 90, I would say a large portion, I'm not going to speak numbers, but a large portion of them come from blue collar America. They're doing this because they believe in it. They were raised a certain way through family values, and they see a possibility that should they make it through, they see a better life for themselves and their families down the line. Jim, have you ever I encountered one person like this, and thankfully I bit my tongue well enough at the beginning. I won't the next time it occurs. But I remember meeting someone who said, I never understood the whole thank you for your service thing, because they agreed to it. It's their job. They knew what they were getting into when they went in, and I'm like, are you serious right now? Did you honestly just try to equate their job? Like, you don't say this to a pizza delivery driver. She told me, hey, thank you for delivering the pizza. And I'm thinking to myself, oh my God, you're the defund the police group, aren't you? Because
I wasn't able to keep my mouth shut to that person at all.
I'm telling you, man, it was supposed to be a good meeting, and this person's father served in World War II. And so I was trying to be respectful through and through on this, but I'm telling you, I'm sitting here thinking to myself, good Lord, are you that lost? I mean, does it not resonate to you what has occurred, and what these folks have done?
And whether you go and voluntarily sign up, we all sign up. I at least when I was thinking about it, I was signing up for one, a career, two, to serve my country and to set myself up for by the time I'm 38 years old, I could have 20 years and still be young enough to pursue a career with full pension and retirement. Like, how much of a better job can you get than serving your country? But
Right.
did that person ever understand that there's a thing called the draft? When we get into a war and we don't have enough soldiers, that they start picking your kids? And that your kid didn't ask for that.
Right.
Right? Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. I mean, isn't that what a draft does? I mean, if we don't have enough people to fight in the war, so they start picking numbers. I mean, this is back in the 70s Vietnam War. They were drafting people, and people were like, no, I don't want to die. I want to smoke my weed and have flowers, so I'm going to go to Canada. And they dodged the draft, and they should be put in jail for that. Right? And of course, nobody wants to voluntarily go to a war and potentially die. So I get part of it and I get some of it, but it's also that person who's scared or doesn't believe in war, doesn't want to go to war. Nobody wants to, but when you're faced with it, you have to deal with it. You have to do what's required of you as a man, and nowadays as a woman. And that's what basic training in boot camp does. It sets you in a path. They can tell from basic training in boot camp where you belong. If you can't make it over the ropes and over the hill and you can't shoot a gun, we're not going to put you on the front line. Chances are you're going to go work in an office. If you're really good on a computer but you can't shoot a gun, I'm not going to put you on the front lines. There's a whole process. It's just like a business.
Sure.
And to say something like that, I would not be able to keep my mouth shut on something like that. I'd get in trouble.
I try to tout myself as being a very cerebral individual, right? And I try not to let my emotions get the better of me, because internally my emotions run at about 150 degrees. I'm a very emotional person, very passionate about a lot of things, but I've tried to learn that I try to figure out what's the outcome I want from this. And as the founder and executive director of the TPO, I try to make sure that our face is always one that is held in proper light, as we move forward. But that piece there, I hope that folks understand that sacrifice and choosing service to protect our way of life, liberty, justice, these type of things. That's something that we should all be very, very damn thankful for, and looking for ways that we can do. Be aware, be aware of the fact that where we're at today. I know there's a lot of younger groups out there that squawk about problems, and that Europe's got this figured out, universal health care, this and this and this, that, hey, I get it. There's some cool things running around out there. But here's the problem. If all you're doing is bitching, you know what we do it to people at work about that? We don't listen to them, right? If you're going to bitch, have a solution. You know what I mean? Be willing to go to work to find, a solution. And that means, in the United States, that means being willing to listen to all sides. You can't just shut down, and go from that. Understand what goes in, to the whole process of serving others. I think as you take time to understand this amazing demographic of our communities, the veteran communities, you start to understand the whys. Now, hey, make no mistake, I've met a couple a-holes, right? I've met a couple a-holes. I've met some people that, quite frankly, I really question whether or not they could be a vet, because they just did not strike me as one. They were a little slippery. But I'm happy to say that of my time, my experience of working in the veteran community, and getting to know and be allowed in, 98%, there's a lot of common denominators there, man, and service to others is it. Especially my brothers and sisters in the Corps. That is built into them. I've all branches for certain, but I can speak educated on the Corps, the Marines that I know, that I'm honored to be able to chat with. They are always there. They're always looking for something else they can do, man. I believe it's just built into the whole training that goes through there.
No, for sure. And you mentioned something earlier about the suicide. How many people commit suicide, and that we all can't stop until we give an answer or stop the results of doing that. And this might be a really dumb question on my part, and I do it out of curiosity, but
Yeah.
every person I know that's been to a war and has been through something devastating that has caused a post-traumatic stress disorder and seen some things that probably shouldn't be seen. War is not nice, and it's not all roses and Valentine's Day cards, right? I mean, it's an ugly thing. How come vets choose not to talk about it? Now, hang on. I know why they don't want to talk about it. Potentially, it re-triggers those things. Okay, but if you actually sat down with someone like me or yourself and you told me about your experiences, and then I could come back to you and say, you know what? You don't have to feel bad about what you saw or what you did. You did your job, man. You did your job. I
Sure.
want to hear that. I think we need to hear more of the gruesome, and I'm not trying to go gruesome here, but I think
Right.
that's a lot of what stresses people out, because you go from a normal human being, from a kid that's grown up in a good loving family, whatever your situation is, you're sent off the war, you do devastating things that you should not ever do to another human being or see, and then you come back and you're supposed to function in a normal society. We need to let people talk about that, maybe talking about it and letting them realize that, hey, it was just your journey in life, and you're the one that was chosen for this. You've done nothing wrong. You need to talk. You can talk to me about it. I don't care how gruesome your story is. You're not going to make me sick, and you're not going to make me think any different from you Actually, you know
Yeah.
what? I'll probably have, you'll probably make me cry because I'm already getting a lump in my throat talking about it. So I, I want people to talk more about their experiences if they can, because if we can help them relieve that, that might save somebody. I don't know.
What your question there that you just asked has so many facets about it, and it dives into the area that I want to come back on an episode and revisit, because you're right on so many occasions there. And all I can pass on a little bit of a response to give you an idea, but I don't want to talk out of pocket. I'm not a vet. I've never seen combat, so I can't speak to those things. But I know a lot of combat vets that would love to come on here and chat. They're in good places in their life, and they can explain a lot of it. And they've explained it to me in some areas to help me have a better understanding. First and foremost, you gotta remember, these are some of the mentally toughest human beings that you are ever going to find out there. And the last thing they ever want to do is something that they perceive, or that possibly another alpha, male would perceive as weakness. So there's always that in play. And yes, there are a lot of efforts going on right now out there from some great nonprofits and great services out there to start getting mental health, talked about, that it's not a sign of weakness to reach out for help. Matter of fact, it's a sign of strength.
Yep.
It's wisdom and strength to reach out for that help. There's things called buddy checks, where another combat vet or another veteran checks on another vet, and they get that battle buddy checks in on each other. That has been a huge thing to help, keep that stuff rolling forward. And everything you're talking about, Jim, is so right. And I'll tell you, here's one area that I'm not speaking out of pocket on. This is what's the foundation of the TPO. We create an environment. We use kayak fishing to do it, and we use the outdoors to do this because we know of its benefits that the outdoors and fishing can provide. But our whole purpose with these events that we set up is to create that camaraderie, create that bond, so they know they're not alone anymore. They've got connections through, the ability to use something. You and I never knew one another on any level until it was fishing. Fishing brought you and I together, Jim, and I am better because I know you. You know what I mean? I fully believe that, brother, that I'm a better human being because I know Jim Strawbridge now, and I know his wife, Sharon, and that is because of fishing, bro. Right?
Yeah.
I don't. How many times did anybody ever tell you that, buddy?
Yeah, I don't think that's been told to me too often. Most people are like, freaking Strawbridge, I'm going the other way. That guy's freaking crazy.
But my point is that we do this. Matt Collins, Matt Kern, Nick Wetherill. I'm looking down the list of people that are tuning in. Justin Bricklin, Jason Lovell, Matt Flanagan. It was because of fishing that I met all these people, man. And that's what we do, brother. We create that bond so they can get around that campfire at night, or get around we're working on tackle together, and they can share those stories. Because yeah, dude, I mean, you think about it, they were forced to do some things that quite frankly not a lot of people can ever wrap their brains around, and then they got to go back and try to look at their little ones and teach their little ones about right and wrong. And I can't even begin to think what that's got to feel like, inside. But we will keep our voices loud, brother, that let the veterans and let the active military, let the first responders hear from citizens out here. We don't care. We love you, and we're damn thankful for you. Right. There's a way through this. We will work through it. And anybody who tries to hold their feet to the coal, dude, I'll tell you what, not on my watch. They're going to have to get through me first. You know what I mean? It's like, no, they've paid their dues. All right. Their dues have been paid up. They don't need to deal with, slimy scumbags anymore in their life. They deserve to live a life of peace and prosperity, man. That's what they fought to preserve, and that's what they should have. So yeah.
I agree. I really wish vets would talk more, not just amongst themselves, because talking to another vet about what you did and what you saw and what bothers you, I don't want to say it goes in one ear and out the other to the other vet, but you're barking up the same tree, right? I think we need to expose more of the general population about what goes through these vets' heads and why they have the nightmares, the dreams, the flashbacks, and have what they have. Because you can't even begin to fathom some of the things that these guys have seen. You don't understand that that's not human nature to see stuff like that. And
Yeah.
it's not normal. And some guys can deal with it and separate it, and some guys can't. And not everybody has that type A personality, right? Or has that upbringing. It takes a certain person to go to war and come back and be normal and functioning.
Yeah.
That's a very small percentage of a percentage.
Yeah. There's a big movement that I was introduced to when I first got involved in nonprofit work. And that was a movement amongst veterans out there to remove the D from the term, the acronym PTSD. They want the D removed. Because the mentality, the thought process in that is stop calling it a disorder. Listen, you can't unsee what you've seen. You can't undo what you've done. You learn how to cope. You learn how to live. You learn how to move up forward. But post-traumatic stress will be there, and it's just becomes a part of you, and you learn how to compartmentalize it, how to keep it in a safe space so that it doesn't debilitate you. You can be, positive for the people around you, and unfortunately it becomes yours. I hate quoting a social media author, but this was a meme, but it's one of the most powerful little memes that I ever saw come out. And it was the statement that every soldier pays with their life. Some just pay it all up front. And that's an important thing to remember for those of us in the civilian world out here, as we're giving thanks, as we're being grateful, as we're being aware of what's going on out there, is just remember that, and it's the entire family serves. So put those two things together, and you start to understand. And they're the last ones that ask for help. They're the last ones that want anything. They don't want a boo-hoo session. They don't want any of that stuff. They'll tell you to, stuff it, stow it.
That's what they need. They need reinforced positivity from outsiders more than even people that are, what you did in war, and that's giving you this stress. I know it's hard to look at it as a positive thing, but you did your job. You did what you needed to do. You can't
We're here because of that.
Right. Yeah. And I'm able to sit here with all these rods behind me and do what I do because of what you did. We want to hear these stories. Maybe if more people understood what went on during war, maybe there would be less war.
I'll be honest with you, though. I
want that oil, and I want these rights, and I want this land, and I want this money, and I want this. And they just go to war. And it's so easy for some old crackpot in Washington to send somebody else's kid, but they don't send their own damn kids half the time. So it just get fired up, Gene.
The thing that makes me want to slap people is when I hear these guys, so quick, because it's usually the people that have never been, but they're the quick keyboard warriors talking about, if so-and-so does something, they're about to find out when they don't want the U.S. doing this and this. And if we got to go take care of business, we should take care. It's like, shut up, shut your pie hole. You have no idea what you're talking about. And you have no idea what goes on the line for that. This isn't a comic book. This isn't a TV show. It's so much bigger than that. And there's no winners there, when it comes down to it. So yeah, it's a goofiness that takes place. The last thing I want to say, and we're going to go back to fishing on this, we'll get it lightened back up. But the last thing I want to say, when you say Happy Veterans Day on Facebook, on Instagram, on TikTok, whatever, you post a picture, you say something, I'm going to challenge you right now. That's not doing anything, folks. Okay. It's just not. Changing your profile picture. I stand with insert buzzword of the month. In support of insert buzzword or cause of the month. That's not doing anything. You want to do something, you want to make a difference in the world, then I challenge you to get boots on the ground and go do something. Go volunteer somewhere. Go get involved in a process. Find out what it takes to get, if there's something so horribly wrong with your state or with a law that you hate or whatever, Go find out what the process, do the research, get to Google, do the research, find out what the process is to get an amendment going, and then get behind this a movement and do something. Actually move your feet, go out from behind that stupid phone of yours and go do something. I'm challenging people this next year as we go forward, and especially into the holiday season, man. This can be a tough time of year for a lot of our brothers and sisters. Do something. Don't just post and think you've done your bid and you've gone somewhere. Dude, social media is nothing more than the digital version of the National Enquirer and Sun magazine. Okay? It's trash. And unfortunately, it's a necessary trash, because if you're going to preserve free speech, you got to have trash in there as well. But that puts the responsibility on us as consumers of said information to know how to filter that stuff out. But the 3-second, I put out posts that are this long, and I know that about that much of it gets read. If it's more than about 3 seconds, I sent emails and emails and emails about certain events, this and this, and I still had DMs from people coming in going, hey, where is this and what does this? Bro, it's in the email. It was like the 4th or 5th sentence in the email. They don't read that far. People have gotten themselves trained in there, and I refuse to work that way. I'm not going to change the way we do things so that people's, attention span of a moth can be, catered to. Not going to do it. No, that's on people to wake the hell up. It takes more than 3 seconds to look into an issue. It takes more than a minute to have an understanding of something. And usually it takes more than that to truly wrap your brain around it. So at any rate, here's a cool challenge coming from the TPO. This is to any civilian out there. If you can facilitate a donation to the TPO for our mission and our programs to help create these environments and help create the camaraderie and the bonding through outdoor engagement, if you as a civilian can facilitate a donation from a business, not a personal, but a business, we are going to offer up to take you out for an entire day, all expenses covered as far as food and kayak and gear and everything. We're going to take you fishing for a day. So you get a chance to see what that donation did and what it's going to do. You'll get a chance to come out with me, and you'll come out with our team members that are available for that event. We're going to offer that up to you. Now, I'm not going to say it's a guided trip, because in the state of Colorado, guides are a ridiculous thing. But I can promise you're going to laugh, you're going to have a good time, and you're going to get on fish. I guarantee that. We'll get some fish somewhere. But yes, if you can facilitate that, then you as a civilian will have earned a right with the TPO. We will schedule it. We will get you going, and shoot, we'll go as early as you want to go. If you don't mind the cold, we'll take you out. Because we plan on being, if the water isn't frozen, we plan on putting the kayak on it, somewhere in the state. So
I was just going to say, are you going to take me ice fishing if I donate?
Nope. This is for the people that are watching out there, that are listening to this later. Hit us up, man, on the TPO. What we're looking for more businesses. Bigger the business, the better. You get a big old company, like you work for Ball or something like that, Boeing. Dog, I'll give you a year's worth of trips that we can go out. Yeah, we are looking to work with more and more organizations. Obviously, our individual donations are something that have been the lifeblood of the TPO, that have kept us rolling. Some amazing people have kept us afloat. But we are ready to move to the next level here, man. We've got the motivation, we've got everything in place that we need. And so all that's left there is to get some of that funding and resource together, and then we're going to take this into the next chapter here, and we'll really start kicking up some awesome trips. So, any rate, all right, man. Well, thank you for going down that trip with me there, Jim. I just wanted to make sure, it's a Veterans Day thing, right? It's an episode, so I wanted to make sure that we speak on, and there's going to be a lot more shows that we're going to do with this, but I'm going to bring in some vets with us so that they can speak to these, and they, that way we're not talking out of pocket. I have my opinions on the stuff, but my opinion is pointless. It just doesn't matter. I have a mission. I'm here to keep the TPO moving and keep people learning about what we're doing and why it's important. But as far as the message goes out there, I'll let them speak for themselves when it comes to that sort of thing. And plus they can give, those better answers and understanding as to what's going on. But I agree with you, man. We need more people talking about it, more people willing. Dog, CKB, we had a cool meeting last week that got some cool stuff figured out. Let's talk CKB news here, man. Let's go down that. The Colorado Kayak Bassmasters here. We got a lot of cool things on deck.
Yeah, some changes. Going to put me on the spot here to see what the changes are.
You want me to pull them up?
Not that maybe if you want to really dive into it. I think the biggest one that we've taken away from this year is the championship at Pueblo at the end of the year is going to be a 2-dayer.
Right.
And we will have no practice going into that the week of starting Monday. The tournament's on a Saturday and Sunday, and that means Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday before nobody's allowed on the water. It is off limits. So I will see you all down to Pueblo the weekend before the off limits.
That's right.
We're all going to be down there, and I hope there's a boat tournament and we just jack the hell out of all their fish.
Dude, I gotta say, I am extremely excited for this. The only time this is going to be a little bit tricky for somebody, the only reason it would be tricky for somebody is if they were brand new and had never fished Pueblo before. But if you're fishing the state championship, then you probably should get down there, and you should probably take, because it's about the best bass fishery we have in this state. So it's worth getting down there. And so taking a peek at this, we all know this lake. Now, it's going to be tricky to know exactly what's taking place there, but what's not going to happen is we're not going to be sore lipping these fish, and we're not going to be beating them up. Now, other jokers are going to be out there, and we're going to be watching them real close, eagle eye hawking them with the binoculars, from camp. But nevertheless, man, I'm so stoked. I have a feeling we're going to have, if our gut tells us what we think it's telling us, this could be one of the better tournaments, I think, for all around total fish catch and quality of fish, I think, that are going to go down. It's at least has the potential for it.
And here's what I think is going to happen, which I probably should keep this close to my chest because it's kind of a tip. Since there's going to be no practice, guys are going out fresh on a Saturday. You're going to go to stuff, whether it's history, whether you're going to try to fish a seasonal pattern based on the water temperature that you see when you launch your kayak. Saturday is going to be one day, obviously. And then Sunday, I think, is where guys are going to make their moves, because now I might not put the best numbers on the board on Saturday, and I might be in 8th place. But if I figure something out on Saturday and I can put a pattern together in the area I'm fishing, I can come back Sunday and blow your doors off. So that's going to be fun to watch. It's going to be who can make the adjustment based on the most current conditions. And right there, folks, that is next level fishing. Right, I was
going to say that's the part that you're going to need when you go to the national championship, is to understand how to manage your groceries and understand how to make adjustments going through this. I have been fortunate enough to do several trails over the past several years and fish a lot of 2-day tournaments. And I can tell you, there's an old adage that goes into this, and now our state championship is going to show it firsthand, which is this: you can't win the tournament on day one, but you can lose it. So you got to make sure that what you're doing is the right deal. But remember, you can't win it day one, because like you said, you could be sitting in 5th or 6th, and then the next day, boom, drop into first place, because that guy that went out and burnt down the hole or whatever on day one got no groceries left. Can't get that limit all of a sudden, ends up with 4 fish instead. So yeah, man, a 2-day tournament, it's prepping you for that next level stuff. So I am so stoked, man. I love this, that the CKB is here, and that it offers us a local trail with this higher level competition, set up there. I love, some of the challenges that brings to us for sure.
Yeah, and I would say the next biggest thing that came out of that meeting, unless you've got something in front of you, but this is just popping in my head, is the CKB is looking at doing what we're going to call a team series in
Yeah.
2025. So that should be pretty cool where you can pick your partner and it's not another trail. It's no more dates. You're still fishing the same tournaments, except you're going to pick your partner for the year. And wherever you guys finish in AOY points, putting those together, and then your best three at the end of the year is going to be team of the year. So we got a sponsor on board that's looking at that, and once they commit to that, I'd be glad to drop their name on that. But we're working with a sponsor up to possibly $1,000 for a gift card. Going forward on that. The only cost it is going to be it's $25 a person because we're trying to build that pot a little bit.
And that's
100%.
that's a one-time fee.
Yes.
That's not per event. That's a one-time, and you're in for the season. You pay $25 as an angler, and then your teammate pays 25, and you're in for the season. And then yes, this potential sponsor that's looking to set this whole thing up is going to match like up to $500 on a gift card that they're going to hook us up with. So no, this is sweet, man. I already got my partner and I talked about it. I begged and pleaded. Nice. I'm like, I know I suck, dude, but I'm worth a lot of laughs. And he's like, of course, dude, we're in. So we got our team name. I'm not going to disclose that just yet. I'm going to wait till I can get him on the show, and we got our team name ready to go. So we're down. We're ready to fly.
Yep, I think I got a teammate already, and we're working on a team name. Only thing we do ask is keep the team name kind of family oriented, right? Let's keep it PG. Just PG. Let's not even go PG-13.
Right, PG's best. Yeah,
PG. Let's keep it PG. Let's keep professional.
I hit. I'll tell you who my teammate is. I mean, it's no big surprise. It is Jason. Jason and I, because we're travel buddies, man. It's rare that you find a guy that you can travel and room with, that you guys are okay with each other's quirks. And he is. He's so chill. He's so easygoing. He doesn't mind my waking up, 32 times a night type thing. It doesn't bug him. He likes it when I tickle him behind the ear at 3 a.m. It's all good.
I was going to say, when you guys are spooning, you jumping around in that bed, it doesn't wake him up.
He's short. He doesn't even know it.
Roll over, Daddy. You're crushing my smokes.
Jesus. But yeah, I ran all kinds of stuff by him with different team names, and I thought I had a winner. It was a great, I made up a shirt and everything for it. It was Team BFFs, right? Was going to be our team. And I had two BFFs, best friends forever. Yeah. And I had two pictures, and it was a back-to-back of Wolverine and Deadpool. And at the top, it had Love Pool and Wolverine.
I like it.
Right. I thought it was the winner.
Awesome.
He poo-pooed that right out the window. He didn't want that one, so.
All I pictured when you said BFF, I just pictured you two standing there inside a heart.
Right.
Holding hands.
Right. Well, they did have the Deadpool Wolverine logos in the shape of a heart. We could do that as a logo, but, I wanted people to know, it was Love Pool and Wolverine. I thought it was pretty damn, I thought it was pretty damn good. Genie Love Aladdin theme.
Oh God! Well, I can't wait to see some of the guys' names that people come up with. Genie Love. I think as of now, I'll disclose my partner. As of now, I'm going to team up with Trev.
Nice.
Yeah, him and I room together for the most part. We share Airbnbs. We travel together for the most part, so it just makes sense that we kind of hang out. So we'll figure something out for a team name.
Heck yeah. That's right. And Matt does have a good point. So we need Flanagan to name all the teams. That, there might be something to that. He's a creative SOB, that Flanagan.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, he
He
is.
really
Let's put more on him. I keep putting stuff on him as our VP, assistant tournament director. He does a lot behind the scenes. Once again, on a serious note, thank you, Matt, for all that you do. Everybody always sees me, and I'm the face of CKB, and I'm always on the podcast, and I'm always running the meetings. I'm doing captains meetings. You always see me posting stuff, but Matt Flanagan is just a big part of the CKB, as I am, if not bigger, because he does stuff that behind the scenes that makes all your guys' life easier for registrations and payouts and bank accounts and IT stuff. So thanks to him. And if you, when you see him, just give him a shout out and give him a thanks, because he does a hell of a job for us.
100%, dude. He is always there to help too. You got a question, you need something, he's Johnny on the spot, man. He's trying to figure it out, and despite anything he's got going on himself. So yeah, both you guys, and yes, extra thanks there to Matt for stepping in, by the behind the scenes guy, right behind the curtain.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
for sure. And everybody needs that. You know, there's always
Yep.
somebody's got to represent, and somebody's face has got to be the face of the club. But it takes more than one person to run a business. And I, as I've watched this club evolve from what it used to be when James Francis started it, and then I started it, and you guys were paying me directly, and then it was in my name, and I was paying all you guys back out. Now we've evolved to a club that actually has a business name registered with the Secretary of State. We've got bank accounts where we got
Yeah.
cards. We're moving into legit, and it's fun to watch that process happen. So I appreciate all support from everybody who supports the club and fishes with us. And once again, Gene, thank you for everything you do
Of course, man.
for the CKB. So
Well, and we're hoping to carry it forward into next year, even on bigger, better levels. And we're hoping to work with CKFC, doing what we can to help those guys out. Obviously, I fish more the CKB just because of the bass affiliation. To be honest with you, it's where I cut my teeth, and it is a desire that I'm working on, and my time is becoming more and more limited. So I don't know how much I'll be able to fish other than just the CKB events, but we'll see. But we want to do what we can from the podcast. The two clubs have done so much, for the TPO as an organization, and it's their anglers that support those clubs have done so much for us that we will make sure that we continue to always remember where our roots are at and what is founded. So a couple other things here that come up here. These were items that were not voted on. This was just board decision. The Yak Attack leaderboard is now permitted. Angler of the Year will still be based on the best four events. So if you want to compete for AOI, you got to at least be in 4 events. Membership dues will all remain the same. No changes there whatsoever. There is an area that no electronic communication will be allowed between anglers during tournament hours for the purpose of information sharing. You can do you can check on to make sure like your sweet lady is okay, or check and make sure everybody's all right. But as far as giving or receiving information about fishing conditions or what's going on there, no, that is not permitted during the tournament hours. Pretty simple, cut and dry.
yeah.
Chatfield and Lake McConaughey events, due to the possibility of bad weather, we've got 2 days pulled. We're going to go for the best weather. Saturday, if is the go that we're going for on those weekends.
Yep.
Unless the weather blows us out, then we'll go for Sunday if possible.
Yeah.
Members ratified and voted on the following. The Norton, Kansas event's going to be a full 2 days. So lines out at 2 p.m. on both days rather than stopping at noon on Sunday.
Yeah, that surprised me, actually. I'm surprised everybody was for that. I'm for it. I think it's great. Let's go 2 full days. Let's do it.
And I hope people know that when I brought it up at the end of the deal there, I do not expect the things that I bring up to ever be like answered. I'm getting old and codgety, and every now and again I'll just pitch out a gripe. And that's all it was that day, because I was having such a good time. I was like, I didn't want to leave at noon. I'm like, oh, I have a feeling there's going to be another bite that's about to occur here in about the next hour, So yeah, that was amazing. That I'm glad though that all members had a vote on it. That I think is super cool. That we all, that everybody gets a vote on the thing. We're going to continue. Yep, anglers voted on to make sure that we require two regular season events to be eligible for the championship.
Yeah.
Championship will remain as $100 entry fee for 1 set of AOI points, 5 fish per day. Biggest, perhaps most controversial, the no pre-fishing. Yeah. And then the team thing.
And then we've been visiting Red Willow the last 2 years. Well, we've been visiting it since the club's inception, but the last 2 years, I think we've been going there on a Saturday and a Sunday. We have dropped Red Willow, and we are now going to a place literally probably north of Red Willow. It's not much further. It's a little north and a little east, called Elwood Reservoir, which Nebraska Kayak Bassmasters held their championship back in August of this year on it. And a couple of us went out and looked at it, and man, what a great little place. I mean,
Yeah.
it's big. It's got a lot of cuts. It's got a lot of points. It's got a lot of areas. I could honestly say, I think we could put, even though it's small, just the way it lays out, we could put 50 people, 50 kayakers on that lake. And I think you'd start to feel a little bit of the pressure at 50, even though it's like 1/3 the size of Pueblo. Just the way it lays out, and the arms and the points, and what a cool place. So I'm really looking forward to Elwood. Only bad thing about Elwood is there's really one launch ramp, and
Yep.
it can be very steep. So we'll see how many participants we've got going into that event that are going to be willing to travel. We doubled our number almost at Norton. Last year we had 12. This year we had 22, 23 participants, and it was a 2-day or so. I'm excited for 2025. So I'm
Yeah.
really, really looking forward to it. And Lake McConaughey, oh my God, I can't wait to see that place.
So Elwood, going back to that. Yes, the one downside there is only one ramp that you can launch from. But leading up to it, I have full intentions to have 2 to 3 episodes of the podcast leading up, and a couple posts going out about launch ramp etiquette, on what you can do when you launch to help keep the flow going, so that people can, the guys with trailers and such, or like those of us that just back up with a pickup truck and drop them out of the bed of our truck. There's things you can do when you launch that will help keep the flow going, so that we don't jam up. Because one thing that did occur at the Nebraska State Championship is there were a lot of kayaks that were left right at the launch. There were like 4, 5, 6 kayaks that they pulled them out and they moved them over to the dock there and just left them right there. That's not a good thing to do if you're one of the initial people. You need to move those kayaks out, move in and tie them off, around the other side of that thing. If you're first to the ramp, that means you should be all the way around the other side over there. That will help keep people flowing, because what it left was a lot of us couldn't launch our kayak thing because we're just stuck there, because there's all these boats and we're waiting on people to get up back to their truck, have a conversation, come back down. It can slow that stuff up, and that's the last thing we want to do. So we'll go over just some good ramp etiquette on how to keep things flowing, and that shouldn't be too big a deal. If we all do our part, it'll go smooth, and should be a good time.
I agree. And if you're one of the guys, the first 5 that are in the water first, when you finally get in the water and you get down and you're out, back an arm's length or two, if someone launches their kayak, have them push it out to you, and you just hold on to it until they get back. And then you could pedal it over to the dock, and they could jump into it from the dock while the other people are coming down. And worst case scenario is, as a tournament director, if we feel like it gets too jammed, I would consider issuing launch numbers. So there's an organized fashion of how we can get there, because there's no sense in everybody getting there at 4:30 in the morning, because we all want to beat the next guy, and we all get there at 3:30, and we're all there 3 hours early because we're trying to beat the traffic. Well, if I know if we got 25 guys and I got drawn boat number 23, I'm not going to get there at 4 o'clock in the morning. I'm going to get there at 5:30 or whatever. So I know I'm further down the line. So we can uncongest it by issuing, launching orders, if that would work. I don't know. It's just a concept.
I think if we, the 20-25 range, I think if everybody minds their P's and Q's, like you said, and we help each other down there with clearing the launch area of kayaks, just make sure that kayaks aren't sitting there at the dock, at the launch. If we can do that, if we work together, I think we'll be good. But if we do start hitting that 30 to 35 range, maybe launch numbers is the way to go, like that. Cause then people know, hey, no stress, no worry. We're not going to start the tournament until, you get to launch, so we'll make sure everybody's on the water, and away we go. Go idle in the, we got a little deal. Yeah. Go idle in the water by the ramp. We had 30 at our ramp at the Ozarks. Exactly. With no issues.
Yeah.
And that's when you got experienced people that know what they're doing, it goes a lot faster that way. So it's just paying attention to people around us, right? And making sure everybody has a good morning.
Yeah.
I've been known to be short before I get my coffee and be a grumpy old bastard every now and again. I scared one of the guys that I love dearly, Andy Moore. He thought he pissed me off, and I'm like, "No, brother, you didn't. I'm just a grumpy old prick till I have my morning coffee, man. That's all." Because I might have been a little excited about the ramp being congested, and I couldn't launch my yak down there. So I might have said out loud, "Boy, I remember my first kayak fishing tournament too."
Oh no! And you're not.
Yeah.
You're from Colorado, boy. You
Yeah.
better shut up.
Yeah. Now I didn't give a rat's behind if they're from Saskatoon. There were literally like 5, 6, 7, 8 kayaks sitting right at the launch ramp. And I'm like, nah, dog, come on, wake up. We can do better than that. We're smarter than that.
Yeah, well, them
Once I have
Nebraska
my
boys haven't seen a pressured ramp in their whole entire life, so they don't even know
right,
how to handle it. You want practice? Come out here, hit Horsetooth on a Saturday around 10 o'clock in the morning, and try to launch a kayak down a ramp. I dare you.
right. You might get in it at the top and just run down it that way.
Yeah, you're going to sit at line at the top of the hill for 45 minutes waiting for your turn to back down.
Yeah.
And then when you take 35 minutes to put each graph on and your 27 rods, oh my God. You're getting 4 fist fights before you even get to go fishing.
Exactly. There's going to be so many white frame sunglasses flying around. It's going to be ridiculous.
Flat. Don't bend my brim, dude.
They get that white claw in them. They get all kinds of jumpy.
Especially at 8 in the morning.
For real. So yeah, man, lots of cool stuff coming down. CKB working on better, looking at improving some of the sponsorship thing. The one thing that I really loved about this meeting, the overall feeling on this is as we progress and as we get a little bit, we move forward. I like the feeling that it's being done in a measured way. We're not going to get crazy. We're not going to let it get out of hand. Let's take it nice and easy, and let's take one, 2 steps at a time here. You told me something long ago, Jim, that stuck with me during my time with the All-American Kayak Series, and that is, if you're going to change things, don't change too many things at once.
Right.
Small incremental changes is a lot easier because, that's we as anglers, we don't like big high number changes all in one fell swoop. We're not a big fan of that, and that's so very true. That was sage advice by an old wise tournament director named Jim Straws.
Yeah. Well, I've been around for a while doing it, and it does totally make sense, and as the season goes on and like 2025 comes rolling in, each event, each time throughout the year, Matt and I are talking and we're evaluating things that we're seeing that are potential, not problems, but things causing little snafus here or there. And how can we adjust that going forward to make it smoother? Eventually, I think we're going to hit a point where our meetings are going to be pretty small unless we have dramatic changes, because we're really starting to tweak what the anglers want. And of course, as a tournament director and being the president of the club and being on the board, there's certain things that I will put to vote, because I want you guys to have a voice and an opinion, because it's your club just as much as it's mine. But there's also some things that Matt and I have to put in place that we just got to say, hey, this is the way it's going to be because of the direction that we feel the club is at, going, or want it to be.
Yeah.
So, but I try to give you guys as much of a voice as possible, but too much of a voice is too many opinions, and somebody doesn't get their way and they get butt hurt. And so you just got to watch as a tournament director, because you've been around it long enough, Gene. There's drama in bass fishing, and I think the kayak world is finally getting to see that. And the more we have on board, the more people you have running the club, the more drama you're going to have and the more problems you're going to have. So keep it small, keep it simple, and make the people of your club feel like they're a part of something and have a voice.
And that's the key, man. It's because there are some things that we as anglers out here in the world, that are fishing it, we're not privy to a lot of information. Okay, we don't
Right.
know. I can speak to this on an educated topic because of the fact that, like I said, my time behind the scenes with the All American, there were things that going on that I had no clue of. Man, Josh Booth is a mountain of information, and he taught me so much about what goes into putting this stuff together. He was great too because I would ask, "Hey man, why are we doing this? Why are we not going this direction? Why are we doing this?" And he would go down the list and like, here's exactly why I'm making a call going this direction. And it
Yeah.
it always made sense to me. It's just like, okay, I get that. Yeah,
Yep.
I wasn't thinking about that portion of it. I didn't even know about that, variable over there. So super,
Right.
super cool. And I think that's one of the nice things I like is the fact that with the CKB, we know you and Matt, we know you guys got the best interest in mind about what we're trying to do. We know there's no egos running it, and that's a big deal. You guys aren't interested. You don't have to be right. You just want to make sure that the club is serving everybody involved properly, and that we're not being
Yeah. No,
doing goofy stuff. Hey
for
man, did you
sure. I
get?
mean, I don't know how many times when the first, even last year, even this year, but more so last year and the year before, I've reached out to you. I've reached out to Trev. I've reached out to Kenny Hood. I've reached out to a bunch of people, Eric Ali all the time, Matt Arledge, guys that I know. Hey, I've reached out to Alex Rojas, who is predominantly CKFC. He's run tournaments before and he's done a hell of a job. I respect all of
Yeah,
their opinions. So when I see something that I'm like, hey, I might be so focused on what I'm trying to accomplish that I don't see something getting in the way of what's going on. So I want outside advice on something that I feel a little sketchy about making a call on. So I want your guys' input and I'll reach out and get opinions on it. There's definitely no ego involved because I want this to be your guys' club and I want to have fun.
I love it, man. I love it.
Matt
And
Collins, I
then
still
Collins,
think
yeah.
kayak versus boat.
Matt, in Colorado, are you sure, buddy? You sure you want to do that in Colorado with our waters?
Oh
I
no,
just,
I agree with him. Here's the part I think you'd have a problem with. I think you'd have a problem getting the boaters to use Tourney X and have a hog trough on board. I think
that's true.
that'd be the biggest. We would win because we disqualify other pitchers because stuff just wouldn't be right. Mouth ain't cracked. That mouth, I did a pinch in the tail, and his whole hand's over the tail. He's got his finger in the eye and four of them under the gill, trying to, you know what I mean? It's like, yeah, that ain't gonna happen, dude.
I love it. I love it. And not for nothing, that first year of taking pictures, there's an art form to it because you
Oh
get kind
yeah,
of excited about it, when you get, but having an entire 96-inch, deck to sit there and lay down on and just la la la, that would be a walk
right,
in the park. You're not putting a fish in your lap, trying not to get six treble hooks stuck in your while you're in there doing it. It's like a
right,
little bit
right. And then
different.
trying to upload it.
Yeah, yeah, trying to get it uploaded. Hey man, did you get your recent edition, your November December edition of the Angler's Guide to Gift Giving from Bassmaster?
I do have it. It's somewhere floating around the house. And
Yeah,
matter of fact, today I just got my Bass Times. So let me touch on this real quick.
yeah.
When you guys sign up through CKB as memberships, I get a question about this a lot. Is what's the $30 for the nation dues for? What does that actually do? So um, when we sign up as a BASS member, we sign up as a BASS member, which gives you that access to the magazine that Gene just held up. Well, when you join the nation, which is required, yep, right there, that's Bassmaster. But when you join the nation, which is required to fish a tournament at BASS, when you pay that $30, I send you into BASS headquarters and you get a paperback magazine called Bass Times. You all should be getting something like that. It's not a harder cover Like this one, it's folded in half this way and it's a paper cover. And that really covers a lot of stuff about the nation at the state level, what different states are doing, what they're doing for conservation, and what's going on at local club levels. So if you get that Bass Times, just don't throw that to the side. Dip into that, because that talks a lot about the grassroots of our club and where we are as anglers at our level.
For real, man. It's yeah. I get the best times one's still downstairs. I brought this one up just because of the gift ideas in there. Um, had a
I haven't
couple
even
things.
looked at it yet.
There is a great article also for this that we could add even more to this, but it's on page of this 69, sweet 68, 69. It talks about dress for the occasion. It talks about base layers, mid layers, outer layers, staying warm during these months coming up here. Dude, you don't want to get out there and get miserable and cold, especially in a kayak. The worst thing you
No.
could do is get wet and cold. Understand as we get closer into this weather, you know, the old first responder in me comes out. As you're approaching cold weather, you don't have very long, man. If you go in the water, you need to get out of the water. Screw the yak, screw everything else around you. Get to shore immediately, or get on top of your kayak. Whatever you need to do to get out of that water, because hypothermia is real. Water pulls the heat out of you 25 times faster than air. And at least that's what it was the last time the science was that I went on. I'm trying to find something here on the list of great ideas and suggestions. I was pretty impressed with this. This is just the standard best. Yeah. Page 27 down at the bottom.
Excuse me.
Look at that there. A little wilderness kayak that they offer is a great gift idea, right? I personally would say don't get that brand, but get New Canoe if you ask me personally.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, F10, right? F10, isn't that the new deal? The U10 or
the
what is
U10? U10, yeah.
go.
If you want that mobility piece, otherwise, if you're looking for the ultimate fishing rig, to me, it's still the Unlimited for sure. That's our flagship. That thing is just she's a beast yak. But yeah, I got a U10 and I got an Unlimited. This next year for the next team boat that comes in will probably be another Unlimited. Actually, I think
Nice.
what I'm gonna do. Yeah, but anyway, yeah, it's a lot of great articles going on there. The Lowrance Recon trolling motor. Wait a minute. Hang on. What's going on here? This electric steer trolling motor freshwater version features a two-blade weedless HDI downscan, traditional sonar mounted wireless foot pedal, heel, toe, stomp, pedal steer. Bro, it's a horrible price, but look at that base.
Ooh.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, is that a wireless pedal that comes with it and a remote?
That is. Yep.
Boy.
Yep.
What's that, $9,000?
$32.99 to $35.99. Ridiculous. But you know, the motor guide thing, Lowrance Simrad taking over. I'm hoping what's going to happen is it'll be the same motor, just rebranded with a different sticker on it, right? That it says, you know, Simrad on it, or it says Lowrance, but it's still the XI3, maybe improved. Still the XI5. Hopefully. Yeah. But, you know, the big talk right now is on the stern mount stuff. For sure. But still, man, having the GPS ability and the spot lock or the anchor mode, whatever you want to call it, that is tough to beat once you have it. So a couple other things, comments coming here. This when we were talking about the biggest problem. He says, disagree. Their biggest problem would be catching as many fish as us. Colin's already talking mad beef already out there. Brickling coming in. Be a fight at the awards over open mouths or people swamping your kayak, pulling into a point. Make a Bubba scale tournament. And Nick supports this boat versus kayak. My name is Nick Wetherill, and I support this tournament. That's awesome stuff. Listen, brother, we're an hour 20 into this. This was, kind of shooting from the hip, right? I wasn't really sure what we had to call an audible with this, but next Monday is going to be a full recap of the weekend. We're going to talk about some of the cool stuff that we had. We'll check in on some latest news and stuff that's going on around the bass fishing industry. We'll see what's taking place out there, kayak specifically. Congratulations if you happen to watch this long, which, Garrett Morgan congratulations is your TOC for
Yeah.
2025. He's been on the show a couple times. I'm going to see if we can get him back on here. I'll let him do his rounds through all the big name stuff first, and then come over slum it with us for a little bit. That would be
Slum it with us.
yeah.
Slumming it with Gene. There's your new podcast right there.
Right?
Slumming it with Gene.
I'm going to do how to not be able to be canceled. Just don't be real popular, baby. That's all it takes. They can't cancel what they can't see. Yep. I've got the answer to the woke BS running around out there.
Oh God, don't get me going.
Right? Well, listen, Jim, I appreciate you taking the time out, man, and coming out and send our love to Sharon, and thank you for sharing you with us, man. We appreciate that as always.
Yeah, thank you.
And hopefully you can join us here, and we'll share our stories with you, what takes place. We'll probably see if we can get Collins to jump in, or maybe Nick or Flanagan. We'll get them to jump in with us on Monday night. Talk about with the team being down there, and seeing what we can get done. Hopefully we'll get a few folks that can still make it with us down there.
Well, I honestly, Sharon and I have been throwing it back and forth. I'm knees deep, elbows deep, shoulder deep in the middle of this job, remodeling this house, and I've got a push going on. So I always want to take a day off on a Friday and go down on Saturday, Sunday, take a Monday off. But I don't know. I got to see what the weather's going to be looking like, and if I go down, I want to bring my trailer because that's what I'm going to sleep in. It's just that whole conversion of creating a camper out of my kayaker for one night or 2 nights.
Yeah.
It just turns into more work than what it's worth. And I don't know if I
hear
want to
that.
sleep in my truck with no heat, but I'm not too much of a fan of hotels around that place. I don't know. They're
No.
pretty sketchy.
I know someone told me that Pueblo West is a lot better than Pueblo. I don't know, dog.
It is.
Is
It
it?
is.
Maybe.
But it's not getting better.
Right.
It's moving to Pueblo West. The trouble is moving there. I mean,
Right.
yeah. So
and no, I love the area down there for sure. But yeah, when you have very expensive equipment sitting in the back of your truck, security in the parking lot is always a concern. And not for nothing, not trying to be mean or rude or whatever, but a lot of the hotels that I've stayed at down there's a lot of traffic that walks through that parking lot in the middle of the night. And I found myself constantly getting up and looking out the window to make sure that I still had a kayak and still had, the stuff sitting
windows.
there. Yeah, windows, exactly.
Yeah, well, that's what they want. They want the little things inside your truck, and they're smart enough to know that a graph is $3,000, and they could pawn that off for $500 real quick, right? And all it's a smash and grab.
Yep.
So
for sure. Well, listen, folks at home, you know the routine out there. Smash that subscribe button for us on YouTube. I want to also, I forgot to do this. I want to run this little ticker across the bottom here. These are the organizations that make it possible for the TPO to do what we do year in and year out. On some level or another, they take care of us and make it possible for us to offer some of the best gear and some of the best fishing experiences out there. Of course, Romans Warrior Foundation being right at the heart of all that. Without them, we don't exist. Brian Romans, the entire Romans family over there, and all the amazing volunteers and their entities. Of course, Amped Outdoors, Eagle Claw, Trocar, New Canoe, Militia Marine, Dubro Fishing, Blackfish Gear, All Terrain Tackle, and Vicious Fishing. Those guys they've been with us back when it was just me fishing, and now that we've moved this way, they stayed with us, jumped on board, and we can never thank them enough for all their work that they do to help us try to get out there and make this kind of stuff happen. So make sure to check those guys out as well. Smash that subscribe. Like I said, that's our real big deal that we're looking for. Jim, you have a good night, brother. And if I don't see you beforehand, I will check in with you on Monday, and we'll sit down and run this up again.
sounds good. Thank you.
All right. Folks at home, you know the deal. Tie lines. Be safe. Happy Veterans Day.